Welcome back to another episode of Dating Badly. I'm Kristin Strange.
And I'm Taylor Bell.
And this week we are talking about dating trends you did not even know existed. And I feel like when I was researching this, I definitely didn't know most of these existed. They were all brand new information to me. I felt so out of the loop.
Right.
Taylor does not know any of these terms, so I'm going to be kind of quizzing her as we go along and talking to her about these terms as we go. So let's just get right into it. The first term or trend that we're seeing is orbiting.
Okay, so orbiting, I would imagine, is you're not landing anywhere, right? Yeah. So you are going in circles, right? It's like a revolving door. No, it's not a revolving door, but it's like orbiting. So if I'm orbiting in regular life, like as a planet, like the Earth orbits the sun.
Yes.
Yes, and the moon
and you never
orbits,
land on anything.
And the moon orbits the Earth.
Okay, yes.
Right, does it?
Yeah.
Okay. So in that case, I'm assuming that you're basically
I think the Earth orbits... No, the
moon orbits the Earth.
You're right, yeah. Surely neither of us took any sort of astrology class.
I think I got that right. So anyway, but the point is, you're not landing anywhere. So that means in a relationship, I'm guessing that it means you are just going in circles and you're not committed to anything.
Orbiting is basically when you are engaging with someone on social media, but like not directly or not via text or anything. So it would be like if you text a guy and he doesn't text you or he's ignoring your calls, but you post a new picture on Instagram and he likes it, or he sends you a Snapchat. That would be orbiting. So like engaging on social media but not direct contact.
Okay. So Could he DM you on social media?
That would probably not be considered orbiting. Orbiting is more like watching your Instagram stories or
like engaging with
engaging in non-direct ways. Through social media.
That. I like that you said. So it's engaging in non-direct ways on social media. So he's not actually having direct contact with you. Hence the word orbiting, I think. Mm-hmm. It just means like you're in the picture, you're like but you're not actually talking to me or like you were not on the same page.
This one was so funny to me because once I read it, I was thinking, oh yeah, that's 100% something that I've been around. Like I the first guy I dated last year would do this, and he would not text me back, but then he would like watch all my Snapchats. He was a little bit more of a like proactive orbiter because he would send me Snapchats, which might have been Snapchats that he was just like sending to a lot of people, you know?
Because it wasn't so...
It's not like he was like, hey, Kristin. Yeah. But yeah, it's so frustrating because you're just like...
Yeah.
I'm talking, like I sent you a message to be like, hey, do you want to get together tomorrow or something? And all I'm getting are you see, like I know you've looked at your phone because you watched my Instagram story.
Right.
Or something like that.
Yeah. I don't know if I probably have. I'm thinking of like, if there's any time, I definitely know that term.
Oh,
and like, I've now that I know the term, I know what it was, basically. I know guys who suddenly stop having conversations with me, or like we just stop talking somehow. I don't know what the case is, but then they still engage with me on social media, but not as heavily. I have maybe a less active orbiter who just only watches my stories or like...
But that's exactly, that would be like the essence of orbiting, and that's what's the most frustrating part, is it's like, why do you even care then? Like, why are you wasting your time?
Some people would say, oh, well, you shouldn't care so much. You know, because sometimes, and it may be different for women and guys, is that guys sometimes see watching stories is no big deal. Liking a photo as a double tap. Yeah. Like, they don't really see it. And I don't know if it's like that if guys have different experiences.
Right.
It's totally open for discussion. But I remember talking to my friend Alex, and he said that he doesn't even care who watches his stories. He doesn't even check them at all. He just posts something and then it's out there in space. I get it because it's orbiting.
But to us,
anyway,
that's funny.
So, but like, you know, to other people and maybe into us, it's like, you know, clearly you're kind of in a way
mind games. That's what it feels like.
Yeah,
it's like feels like mind
it
games.
could feel like mind games for sure. So
I think that's my biggest problem with it. Is it feels like I guess if he's saying that, like, a lot of guys probably don't even realize what it does to you. You're like, oh my God, he likes me because he watched my Instagram story.
No, you know what?
And it's not the case.
It's not. Like, I remember Alex said, he's like, oh, like, I told him, like, oh, I think this guy, like, you know, I hadn't talked to him in a while, but he watched my Instagram story. He's like, oh my gosh, did he? Like, he's like, oh my gosh, he definitely likes you, girl. He likes you to watch your Instagram story. He's like, I was like, really? He's like, no, I don't know. Like, he's like, I don't care who watches mine. I just watch people's stories. Yeah. And like, I talked to a girl, and or like he said, like, if okay, say a guy you guys don't talk or whatever, and then he still follows you on Instagram. He says that I was like, oh my gosh, like maybe he would, if he doesn't like me, he would unfollow me, right? But he's still following me, so it must mean something. And he's like, no, it doesn't.
He's just too lazy to unfollow.
Or maybe he doesn't care. It's just like, it's not like that serious, you know. Yeah. Sometimes I think but who knows, you know, I don't know.
So this one, the next one is one that I know we're both familiar with, and it's one of my biggest pet peeves, breadcrumbing.
Okay, now I think I know.
Yeah, okay.
But I'm not 100%, but I think I know, because it's, okay, so I would say, if I had to explain it, is that when a person that you're interested in or talking to, like you guys have talked, they don't consistently keep contact with you, but they do throw you a bone here and there, like,
essentially,
you know.
Yeah, it's basically like stringing someone along, and it's almost like tactical, because they're not interested, but it's like they string you along because it's good for their egos, or maybe because they just like want someone on the back burner in case they're lonely one night, or like, it's like they're just like giving you just enough to keep you like there,
hooked, and like
hooked, yeah, with no intention of ever pursuing it any further.
Okay,
it's like, this is a real dick move.
Yeah, that's actually. I wonder. I definitely feel like
I've been breadcrumbed before.
Yeah, I for sure.
Well,
I don't know. I think
twice.
I think I don't let it go on for a long time. I'm like, okay, clearly this is like.
Yeah, I think I let it go on for too many years once.
But I wonder what the extent of breadcrumbing is, because like I feel like, I mean, like, are there levels to it? Because like I feel like,
yeah, sometimes I'm like, I feel like this one's a hard one to distinguish, because in your own head you're like, no, he's not breadcrumbing me, he's just busy, or
yeah, that's true.
You know, but it's like, no, he's breadcrumbing you. He's not interested. And everyone says this, if he's interested, he's gonna find a way to get in contact with you. He's gonna call you. He's gonna pursue you.
But like, so does that mean like the text message, like, randomly, hey, how are you, is like a breadcrumb, or is it like an actual, like, hey, I'm like, I guess it could be a breadcrumb.
I think breadcrumbing comes in a couple different forms. It could be more like, hey, how's it going? Or like, you know, just checking in with you, or be like, oh, hey, like, I don't know. I just think it's like mind games, you know, like almost like, you know, something that you know that you need to do to keep that person hooked, giving them just enough. And I think that the reason it can't be so defined is because for different people, enough to keep them hooked is going to be different things. So like, it might be like hanging out with them once a month. So like, then the next 4 weeks, they might be like, okay, I'm going to get over him. And then you hang out with him again once.
You know what? I saw this really good meme, and it was like a guy on a cell phone. Okay, but basically it's like, him saying, I think she's starting to move on. Let me call her real quick. Or
exactly,
like, you know what I mean? Like,
it's like having that kind of like sense of, okay, she's moving on. Now I need to do something about it. Or I haven't talked to her for a minute, or I haven't talked to him for a minute. Like, you know, it's interesting. I wonder you're right. I think that's a perfect way to say it, is that it's defined, breadcrumbing is defined differently by each person's situation, because not everyone. Because some girls, I think, would probably take a little bit more to keep in the loop, and then some girls was probably like, oh, if you call her, you know, when you're driving home once a month, she's like, oh my God, there's totally hope. He made time for me.
Oh my God.
And it's like, He didn't make time.
I know. I thought that too. I mean, it could happen in a shorter period of time too. Like I thought, like I don't want to say my recent experience, but I'm thinking like, oh, okay, like hours go by in the texting, like maybe a day and a half, and it's like, oh, sorry, I was like busy. It's like. At what?
I know.
I don't know. Is that breadcrumbing? I don't know. Like just to be like pop up like after like a day or two of not texting and then being like, hey, like I don't know if that's breadcrumbing.
I don't think it's breadcrumbing if there's like was there plans to then like meet up and that were made and like what?
No. So what happened was. I can't believe I'm talking about it. Because I feel like it's a thing now. But basically, like...
Yeah, now we've got to know.
So now, basically, like, we didn't hang out. And all I'll say is we didn't hang out. And I was like, cool. And then, like, the next day, the next day, maybe, like, that evening, he said, hey, how are you? And then I was like, oh, I'm cool. Like, this has happened. And then that was pretty much it.
So that's breadcrumbing. Yeah.
You think?
I think 100%. There's no... unless you want to spend time with someone, there's no reason to just be like, hey, how are you? Like, that's trying to keep someone strung, like, hooked on you. That's a calculated move to keep someone hooked on you.
Wow.
Unless they... And I feel like I know about this because I did this for many, many years. So I was breadcrumbed the worst. And if someone wants to pursue something with you, they're going to make some... So, I mean, I'm not saying that every guy goes over the top with effort. I know guys are busy. But if they want to... Even if they want something casual with you, they're going to make an effort to see you. But just texting and being like, hey, how are you? With no real follow-up is just like, she probably wasn't thinking about me, so I want to make sure she's thinking about me right now when she might be going out with someone else.
You were speaking to me.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly.
Because I did that for a long time, so I get it. Like, and I'm, like, very much trying to not let myself be breadcrumbed again, which I'm not always the best at. But, because I have, like, this instinctive need to see the good in people and think that everyone...
and you expect the best and believe that people aren't doing bad things to you. But, like, I thought that's really interesting you say that. Like, yeah, because it was just, like, random for a long time, because he was
Was it on a Saturday or a Sunday?
That I was supposed to hang out? Or
no,
like,
he texted you that.
No, it was a weekday.
Okay.
So it was like, we were supposed to hang out. He just suddenly just was like, oh, I can't do this. And I was like, okay. I mean, I don't need to like, it's whatever. And I felt like the excuse was kind of like a little lame. And I was like, whatever. So I just was like, that's a wrap. I'm not going to like let it go. Like, whatever. And then, so that happened on Monday. Tuesday night, he texted and was like, hey, how are you? Like, how's your day been?
No. He's breadcrumbing.
You really think so?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we'll have to get into it.
Okay, we'll get offline.
Some more details. But for the most part, I think he's breadcrumbing.
Okay.
Okay, this next one, I don't think either of us have done. It's called kitten fishing. Now... Do you want to guess?
I have no idea what fishing is. Is it just about... Like, it's like cubs? Like, no. You're, like, trying to fish a cub?
No. So, kitten fishing is similar to catfishing. We all know what catfishing is, where you pretend to be someone else online.
Right.
Kitten fishing is a little bit different because kitten fishing is just, like, changing minor details about yourself. So, for example, maybe you post a picture from 10 years ago. Maybe you post a picture when you're looking really slim and you are not that slim.
Oh.
Maybe you post a picture of, you wear glasses all the time without glasses, or you don't wear glasses. I don't know. Like, you just post a picture or like you have all these big extensions in your hair, or like something that's not really yourself, or how you're going to show up on the date.
So just slight and minor changes?
Yeah. Or it can even be like slight and minor changes to your job when you're like, I don't know, a cashier somewhere. You say that you're like the store manager or something.
I'm full-time blowing up doing this, but I'm actually freelancing and I have a side job as a waitress. Or
like saying like, oh yeah, I'm freelancing when you're not freelancing anywhere. That would potentially be kitten fishing.
I feel like that's just, a flat out lie.
But it's just like changing little things about yourself, to make you seem a little bit better.
Okay.
but, you know, or like something that's super heavily edited. So I don't feel like I see this one. Like, I think that girls probably do it a lot. Because we obviously...
think so?
Yeah, because we obviously all want to look our best. But I think because I was so mortified of the idea that I might show up somewhere and not be what someone was expecting, I try to be so myself on dating apps, because I'm like, I would rather someone swipe left on me than show up thinking that I'm going to come looking like something different and be disappointed.
And also it's already a lot of pressure in general to, like, you know, make sure you look the way you do already. Like, even if you have all your pictures, like, the way that you are, it could translate differently in person. And you're not lying. It's like, this is a picture of you, but you just look different in person. Like, it doesn't mean that you have edited anything. It just means, like, because, you know, I feel like I put, when I'm on a dating app, I put the best, like, when I've been on the dating apps, I put the best
pictures.
I put my best picture. I try to do the best pictures in the sense that they look exactly like me. It's what you're gonna see, Instagram or not. You're gonna see it like it's the best pictures of me that best represent what I look like. So I have braids, or if I have straight hair, whatever it is. It's important because you don't want to be duped, and I don't want people to think that because it's like a waste of their time too, you know. And so it's already pressure enough. I'm like, okay, like, when I meet the guy in person, I'm like, oh, I wonder what he's thinking of me anyway. Just even though I was completely honest and straight up and with my image, you know.
Totally, I totally agree with you. All right, this next one I have definitely experienced. Zombieing.
Okay, zombieing. Now, okay, zombies are dead. So let me think about this. Try to put where this term came from.
Technically, zombies are the undead, right?
Oh, right. Well, they are dead.
But they're not dead because they're walking around,
but
so they're the
dead.
undead. So they're dead, but they're the undead.
I wonder... okay. So... Okay, so... Okay. So that means that I am shooting in the dark with this. I have a zombieing? Does that mean, like, you're kind of sleep on the person and, like, then you realize after they take a nice photo on Instagram or social media, like, oh, you're going to hit them up because I forgot what they look like. So then I'm going to pop up and I'm going to say, hey, like, I should rekindle that, or just let them know that I'm around.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, so it's essentially like when one person ghosts another only to come back from the dead later. So it's like if I'm dating a guy and I ghost him because I'm like, oh, I'm done with this. I'm done with, you know, John. And I ghost John. And then I'm like, oh, you know, things were not so bad with John. Let me actually just, you know, see where it goes and, like, come back from the dead.
I like
so,
this.
Yeah, that would be essentially...
I've done that.
Have you?
Yeah, I've definitely been like, this is like kind of like, I'm over this, blah, 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 like, done. And then all of a sudden I'm like, you know what? That person's on my mind. And, you know, I just check up and I just like, I'm like, hey, like, I don't know. I add them on Instagram or something. Yeah. And like, I don't know.
I would say I haven't done this with someone that I've ghosted. Like, it's not like I'm,
maybe ghosting, no.
Okay. Because I'm like, I've definitely, like, you know, guys that it hasn't worked out with for one reason or another, I've looked up again. Or, you know, tried to get in contact again. But, like, ghosting someone, flat out ghosting them, and then coming back from the dead, no.
Okay, so that's specifically zombie.
Yeah.
If it's, you have to have ghosted the person, and then, like, suddenly... You know, I think I might have, but I can't, like, it's not so vivid. So maybe I haven't done it really because, but I have had people do that to me.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if they ghosted me and then suddenly come back. Like, I think ghosting, not like they just disappeared, but, so ghosting, let's just clarify. Ghosting is when...
Someone disappears.
Just disappears with no notice.
No notice.
So they just, like, we just,
so it's not like breaking up with someone. It's like you going on a date with guy number one on Tuesday and then texting him on Wednesday and then he's gone.
Like, but does he respond?
No.
Oh, okay.
That's ghosting. You don't,
okay, I feel like ghosting to me maybe is like when we like kind of just fall off texting, and it's just kind of like I say something, he says something, and it's just like I'll say like, how was your day? He's like, good, and then it's just like dead. So maybe that's not ghosting.
That's like, I guess that's like, less extreme version of ghosting.
Yeah. Okay, so that's happened.
But, like, and then it's kind of, like, mutual at that point, because if neither of you are reaching out, then it's, like, whose job is it?
Right,
really?
because it's, like, I want to reach out. That's why I asked the question. But if I'm feeling this sort of weird vibe where he's not giving me anything back or, you know, then I'm like, oh, okay, this is dead. And then later on, maybe, like, 2 months, 3 months, whatever time has passed, they'll come back and be like, hey, how have you been? Yeah. You know what I mean? So I feel like that is kind of like ghosting. You just sort of
that would be like connected to zombieing.
Yeah. So I think that's interesting.
I think that honestly, if you didn't ghost in like the worst way, I honestly don't think this one's that bad. It's like coming back and being like, and if you have good intentions to actually pursue something or like actually see them, you know, not if you're just like trying to screw around and mess with their feelings. But yeah, if you want to, it's kind of like giving it another shot, even though you already screwed up by ghosting them. Yeah. But everyone deserves a second chance, right?
Yeah. And, you know, I feel like that happens. I don't know. Never mind. I was going to say something, but I don't know if it's worth
this. I am so guilty of this next one. Instagram standing.
Okay. So I'm going to guess that Instagram standing is when you are like talking to them through Instagram and that's it. Like you're actually engaging with them on Instagram but not anywhere else. So like unlike the first one we talked about where you just sort of like orbit them, this is like actually engaging in Instagram and you like message them.
No.
Oh.
So Instagram standing is tailoring your Instagram feed with another person in mind in hope of that your posts are going to capture their attention. Yeah, so it's like trying to grab someone's attention with your Instagram posts. And I will say I have done this on Instagram. More recently, I feel like I do this on Snapchat because I try not to add guys on Instagram anymore. Because I try to keep Instagram as more like a professional place for me. And then Snapchat is like where I only have like people that I'm either like my friends and then people that I date. And I have a lot less people on there, so I feel like I can post a little bit more. Right. And a lot of times I will post an or a Snapchat story or something like with someone in mind in hopes that they'll like see it.
Interesting. Okay, so I definitely have done this.
Like guilty of it. Yeah.
Yeah,
guilty.
like you because like especially if you're talking to a crush, if you have a crush, for instance, and they follow you on Instagram, like I think you sort of like sometimes, you know, put a little bit more thought into what you're posting or a little bit more thought into
like
your
what
stories.
You're gonna put the caption that's gonna say, and like you want to look like you're having a good time, and you know,
I think it's so true. Like I've done that when to definitely to get someone's attention. I'm gonna this is a safe space, okay? Yeah. Like I've definitely done it, and I want
it works.
Well, that's exactly it's definitely bait for some people, and they take the bait.
Oh yeah.
And some people actually don't. They just what they'll do is they will orbit, you know. And cause I'll notice it because like I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking way too much about it, but I do think that like some people like have hit me up when I posted like a quote fire photo or like I don't know. I think that's something that I think we wouldn't be shocked to find that a lot of people do.
Yeah, I feel like everyone does this. If you're like newly seeing someone that's on your Instagram, like obviously you're gonna think about what you're posting, or you know they just added you. You don't want to. I even think about things I've posted in the past that I'm like, should I remove any of them? Like,
oh my gosh, you do that? Okay, see, I thought I was being super over analytical too, because I'm like, oh, this is like an interesting photo, like back in college. Like, I don't know if like people scroll, but people, because the thing is, people do scroll. They do scroll, and some people have no shame, and they will like photos that are years old, and I'm like, wow, you went back that far.
Like deep likes.
And so. Like, okay, maybe there's some photos in here that, you know, but then I can't be worried about like it. I know it's hard, but it's like you can't be worried about what people think. If they don't like you or
that's kind of where I am now. Like I feel like I used to put a lot of effort into it, and I'm not to say that now I won't like try and post something attention grabbing on Snapchat or Instagram, but like I would say more I'm like yeah, well, you're either gonna like me as it is or you're not. Like, I'm not gonna go back and delete any posts now. I don't post about, like, exes on Instagram or, like, anyone that I've dated before, so it's not like I have that to worry about.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you don't like something that I did in the past, then you don't like me, so...
Yeah, exactly.
Or you get over it and realize it was the past and I don't, you know, whatever.
That's what I think, because sometimes I'm like, oh, I have this picture for, like, 2014. I'm like, oh, I look so different in that. Like,
but you should look different. That was 5 years
that's like 2014.
Yeah.
And most of the times, I think we put a little too much pressure because I don't think, like, when you think about, do you judge people based on what they look like in 2014?
No.
So then I think we're just kind of, like, hypersensitive. People in general, our culture can be hypersensitive on that. Because you're like, oh, gosh, you know, because you just want the person to like you, I guess.
Yeah. All right, this last term is curving.
Okay, curving. I know swerving, and I feel like I've heard curving before, but why is it not coming back to me? I know swerving is like when someone's like, hey, you want to hang out? You're like, oh, you're kind of like dodging a little bit. And like, I feel like curving is the same way, where you're kind of dodging people's efforts to hang out with you. You're kind of like, you're not saying like, no, I don't want to hang out with you, but you're just kind of like, oh, like this happening, and like
basically
this
exactly
coming up. Yeah.
So it's kind of like the new way to reject someone, rejection with a smile, if you will.
Ooh,
it's like a way of letting someone down without explicitly telling them you're no longer interested. So it's rooted in communication or like lack thereof. So, you know,
I've done this.
They're not just ignoring your text to hang out. They'll reply, but it'll be like several days later, and they'll say like, sorry, I'd love to see you, but work's been crazy, and I'm just like so bad with my phone, and this is that. And then you think like, oh great, like they like me, so this is awesome.
7 days later.
Yeah. So they weren't just ignoring me, and then you text back, and you're like, okay, great, like, yeah, let's totally try and set a time to hang out, and then it just like cycles, you know.
Oh gosh, I've done that. I've done it, and I remember, it's like, you know, I don't want to be mean or anything, and the guy is very nice and actually persistent, and he's funny, and so I'll just be like, oh yeah, let me know when, you know. And
see, you can't do that. I don't do that. If I'm not gonna hang out with someone, I'm like, look, I think you're great, but we're not gonna hang out.
Oh, so you actually say, because I always do that. I'm like, oh yeah, great, just let me know when, or like, okay, because you know what's funny, I don't save people's numbers that are not gonna be in my life. I feel like, and so thing about me is that when it comes to phone numbers and people giving me their phone numbers, guys giving me their phone numbers, I do not save you in my phone until I feel like you're going to become a consistent person in my life. It's like getting a tattoo. I feel as soon as I save their number, it's like, oh gosh, like, why did I save their number? So one guy, he gave me his number, I never saved it, and then he called me from that number, and obviously I don't know the number. I'm thinking it could be job, could be anything. And he calls me, and I'm like, hello? And he's like, hey. And I'm like, who's this? He's like, what? And then like so I have to stay on the phone because, you know, it's that. And so he's like, when are we going to hang out? And I'm like, so now I'm caught on the phone, and it's like, so I say, oh yeah, just let me know when. How about you text me tomorrow? You know?
Yeah.
That's actually,
you know what, though? Okay, in that situation, I probably would have done the same thing. Be like, oh, yeah, let me just text you and let you know. And then I would have been, like, over text. Like, yeah, I just don't think...
Oh, you would have said it.
Yeah, like, oh, I just don't think that we're, you know... I don't think I'm in a place right now where this is right for me. And, like, you don't even have to make it about them.
Okay. Because what I would do, and that's so... Because he said... I would say... He'll text me, like, hey, so are you free this week? I'm like, oh, actually, maybe, like, next weekend... Because then you feel like, I guess, in that moment that, like, you have time. It probably won't come up again. Yeah. You know, but then they do follow up sometimes. Sometimes they don't.
I will say I have done this with friends.
Okay.
Just because I feel like it's so much harder with a friend. It feels so much ruder to, like, tell a friend, hey, I don't want to be friends with you anymore. And, like, or just, like, reasons that I don't want to hang out with someone for whatever reason. It's like, I don't want to be like, oh, yeah, no, sorry, I just don't think that we should be friends anymore. That feels a little bit harsher, so no.
Yeah. But I don't let it go on for, like, long. As soon as I know that a guy is, like, kind of giving me the runaround, like, when I see it, like, oh, we can't hang out, I'm not going to... Like, for me, I think for me to ask a guy, hey, like, want to hang out, and then they say no, they don't want to hang out, or like they come up with some excuse to me already because maybe I'm
it's
jaded.
Like, you know that I want to hang out.
Yeah, so you already know I'm not gonna chase you.
Yes, exactly.
Like, I put it out there, and I'm only gonna answer. I'm only gonna suggest something one time.
Right.
I'm not gonna do it again.
Is there any time in curving when they come back and then you do, hang out again, and then like it kind of starts the cycle again? Because there have definitely been times where guys have been like, oh, work's really busy, can we do it another week? But then we do. Yeah. So I'm like, is it still rejection? I don't know. Or like,
I don't think so. At that point, if they have intention of seeing you again, then it's no longer curving. I think at that point, it's like they are truly genuine about it. Maybe it seems like it at first, but if they actually do follow through, then it's not.
Yeah.
I think that it's hard and you got to be careful in how. See, because there's this idea of curving going on, people have to be very transparent about their intentions. And
that's totally 100% how I feel. And that's why I try to be transparent about if I don't want to see you again, because I don't want you waiting around for me like I feel like I've waited around for other guys.
Because I feel like sometimes people want other people to get the hint because they don't want to let them down. They just say,
but it's like, you need to be honest with people. You can't expect everybody to get the hint, because you being like trying to reject someone with a smile and be nice about it is giving the impression to someone else that you do still like them, and you do.
That is so true. I remember I was talking to a guy, and he was kind of like breadcrumbing and curving me at the same time. It was sort of weird. Like, I don't know if it's basically, we had a conversation. I finally just said it. I confronted him about it, and I'm like, look, you say you're gonna hang out, like, hey, we'll I'll see you later. I'm like, you're actually not going to, right? Like, I just said flat out, like, you're not going to. And he's like, you know what, honestly, like, I was hoping we'd have this conversation. I'm like, you weren't even, like, if I didn't say anything, you weren't gonna do that.
Yeah.
And he's like, basically trying to say, like, oh no, yeah, like, I just don't wanna, I don't see it, like, happening. And I'm just like, later on after that conversation, because I left, I was really proud of myself, because usually I would just kind of like let it die. And it's better for yourself to like just take control sometimes and just do it, because then you won't, your feelings can just like, you'll heal faster or whatever. You just kind of get it out of your life. But I remember thinking, like, just because it's like he was trying to be like nice, but you can still be a nice douchebag.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So like, it's not like trying to be like nice and giving me excuses. Mm-hmm. Like, you're still a douchebag. And I think guys, that's why people do this, because they don't want to be a bad person, but you're still a bad person regardless. I have so much respect
for someone that can just come out and say, look, I think you're great, and I had a lot of fun with you, but I just don't, I don't feel that chemistry between us. Yeah. Even if it's so clear that I did, because it's like, I feel like you have so much respect for my feelings at that point to tell me the truth.
Yeah.
Versus someone who's worried, because when you're worried about hurting someone, you're not worried about actually hurting them. You're worried about being in an uncomfortable position where they think that you're like an asshole.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like,
so
you're not worried about them. You're worried about you at that point. So I would so much rather have so much more respect for someone who can just be honest with me and, cut me straight and hard the first time, and then we're good, But
that's our culture. Our culture is about
be nice, don't hurt people,
and like just to figure it out, and this idea of like,
and I think people don't understand how much damage it causes to do this kind of thing.
Yeah, and
because that causes more than just being like, not gonna work.
And also, it doesn't allow me to then believe other people too and be genuine about it. So now I'm questioning everything.
Everyone,
like, oh, you said you don't want to hang out. Oh, you probably don't want it. Like, then maybe they are just busy, or maybe they do have stuff going on. But I don't believe that. Right. I'm skeptical every single time.
I feel like that's what keeps happening with me. Like with the most recent guy I've been hanging out with, is I always think like, oh, he's doing this. He's like curving me. He's doing this or that. And every time I call him out on like being bad at, whatever, he's like, oh my God, you're right, I'm so sorry. And he changes it and becomes better. And I'm like, you're not like everybody else, are you? And I get like so confused, because I'm like, it doesn't make, like, why are you not, running away?
I think, we never want to hurt people's feelings, but like you said, when we're not honest, and it's but cliche, and it's, we all know this, when we're not honest, you do more damage to the person. Mm-hmm. Just expecting them to sort of take a hint, because I've done it. I just kind of like, I'm not interested, like if I keep kind of saying, oh, next weekend, and you try again, and then next weekend, and try again, it's like, I don't want, like, I had some guy on Instagram do the same thing to me. Like, literally, he texted me. Now, I didn't respond, okay? But he texted me, hey, how are you? I read it. So it's like seeing, right? Literally 4 days later, hey, how are you? He unsent the first message and then he texted me again.
Oh, God.
And I was like,
That's persistence.
Yes,
persistence
right?
to like a level of stupidity.
Yeah, I think that's, and another guy, he did the same thing, but he gives space in between. He just kind of tries his I guess shot, like maybe like, okay, maybe she's not feeling it this month, maybe in like 2 months, then maybe so. And it's like, and I do admire it because I remember one time I told him, I said, hey, like, I'm sorry I haven't really been responding. He's like, yeah, that's not going to stop me. And I was like, oh, okay. I thought that was pretty interesting that he said, like, that doesn't bother me. He's just like, but it wasn't creepy that he kept persisting.
Right,
but it was like, 4 months had passed. He just said, hey, like, I'm just want to know, when can I take you out? Like that. Like, so that was kind of like, not bad. I still wouldn't, like, recommend it because I don't want to like lead him on, right? So I just kind of like laugh and be ha ha ha, like, yeah, but it's just our culture. It sucks that we can't just be honest. We're so worried about hurting people's feelings.
Well, that is it for this week's episode. You guys can find us on Instagram at Dating Badly, and be sure to send us a message if you have anything that you want us to talk about, or any questions you want us to answer, or anything you want us to figure out, because we'll go deep and find you the answer to all of the dating questions that you had. You can also find me on Instagram at Kristin_strange.
And you can find me at It's Taylor Bell.
We will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.